Are you a team manager struggling to lead your team well? Have you been asked to lead HR, but it's your first time? Or are you an HR pro looking for your tribe? While We Were Working is the show for you. With quick tips and tough topics in 30 minutes or less, the Jumpstart HR team is here for you. So let's get into it. Welcome to episode 4 of While We Were Working. It's the show for HR pros and people leaders to get a little bit better at what you do and learn the Jumpstart way when it comes to dealing with difficult HR and people leadership topics. As always, I'm here with my co-host Sommer. So say hey, Sommer.
Hey everyone.
You're probably looking at us and wondering why our shirts look so funny and fun. So, Summer, can you set the tone for this episode and why we're wearing what we're wearing?
I sure will, Joey. Well, we're getting excited that the holidays are approaching. We decided to just kind of kick it up a notch and have a little fun with those of you that are joining us on this episode by video. And if you caught our prior episode, you might also know from our Hilo Buffalo that I'm currently broadcasting from Hawaii. So we thought we'd bring a little bit of tropical and holiday flair
Yes.
and excited to just bring a little bit of additional excitement to our viewers and listeners.
Well, it's definitely exciting. Um, your shirt there, it's the
Mhm.
tropical side. My shirt is the ugly Christmas sweater, and I'm gonna stand up a little bit just so people can see the shirt in detail. And if you're listening on podcast, you have to go back to my LinkedIn page or our YouTube channel to see the video and see how crazy this outfit is. But it's it's like a llama with a scarf. Llama with a scarf. So
that's that's pretty epic, Joey.
we're full on party mode over here. Full on party mode. So now we'll go ahead and switch though into Hilo Buffalo, which many of you know if you've been listening to the show is something that we do in our internal Slack channels with our team, where we talk about the highs of the week, our lows of the week, and then Buffalo is a random fun fact in our world or that we want to share with the team. It's almost like show and tell, if you remember it as a kid. So, Summer, go ahead and kick off your high low Buffalo, and then I'll follow up with mine.
Sure thing, Joey. Thanks for that. Well, if you had a chance to check out our very active Slack channel last week, you probably saw one of the most incredible photos I think that I've ever taken, Joey, in my entire life. So this was a bucket list item, is absolutely my high, and it's a picture from a night hike on the Kilauea volcano, and I'm standing on top of an erupting volcano that was an absolutely beautiful hike through lava fields and kind of the tropical rainforest. So definitely the highlight of my week, probably my year. And definitely something that if you guys get a chance to come out and see, I absolutely recommend. And of course, have to keep thinking about the low. Oh my gosh, Joey, there's only 10 shopping days left. And well, if you're going to buy anything online, you probably already know that there's even fewer. So that's kind of got me a little freaked out, knowing that I still have some shopping to do. And then my Buffalo, Joey, oh my gosh. So I'm really obsessed with flocked Christmas trees and glitter and rhinestones and all things kind of sparkly. So when I went to go get my tree this year, they asked, would you like some glitter on it? And I thought, would I like some glitter? I'd like it covered in glitter, which is a really great idea, Joey, until you get it home and you unbag it. And now my entire house is covered in glitter. And I probably will be for the next year as well.
So what you're saying is this episode is brought to you by Roomba to sweep up everything,
Oh
or
man,
Dyson or Dyson.
man.
Um, Now,
It's
what's a flock tree? What make
oh,
what is that?
so it's where they take the tree and then they cover it with fake snow. And so
Oh,
it's got this really beautiful, like white, fluffy, snowed on appearance, which is absolutely beautiful. And when they flock it, it's wet. And then they toss glitter on it and it sticks. And it's just,
wow. Okay.
I mean, it's beautiful. But what they don't tell you is that it's an absolute mess as well.
It's all fun and games until it's time to bring it home and that glitter falls to the ground.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you know, the worst thing about glitter, Joey, is that no matter how much you vacuum or sweep, it still sticks to stuff. So
Yep.
I'm going to be sparkly for the rest of the year. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, oh yeah. You're gonna be like, how did this glitter get into my car or in this random bag?
It's already started.
We're not going to just breeze past that volcano story either. So I'm just gonna put a pin in that. But um, my daughter, my oldest, we have like a trampoline in the backyard, and her and one of her friends thought it was a good idea to bounce with glitter, and this was like 4 months ago. And when I tell you, when I'm out there blowing leaves and I still see remnants of glitter everywhere, it does not go away.
Oh my gosh. It's not, and I think it's, I don't know, it's like static charged. I feel like it just sticks to stuff. And when you try
Yep.
to wipe it off, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Now let's get to this volcano. I have so many questions. I'm sure our listeners have so many questions about, did this idea come about? Is this a thing? Like, do you do it with a tour guide? Did you do it illegally and we shouldn't be talking about it in detail? Uh, what was the experience like?
Wow. Well, I'll try to keep it brief, but it's truly a sight to see, Joey. Kilauea is on the Big Island of Hawaii and is a pretty active volcano. And it erupted a few years ago. You may have seen it on the news and unfortunately caused a lot of devastation to some of the communities around there. Well, right now it is active again, but the lava is currently contained within like the top of the volcano. So it's not like spewing out and sliding over the side. So it makes for really great viewing. It's in a national park, so it is open to visitors, and there are actually rangers there that will kind of help direct you along the way. So it's totally legal. You just need to stay on the path and wear your mask. And of course, it's best viewed at night so that you can see the glow of the lava. And it's truly a once in a lifetime opportunity that I always hoped I could see. And so I'm really happy to have that opportunity now, and treasure that memory. And one last thing that I'll add to that most people probably don't know is that there's also nearby a a military camp. I think it's called Kilauea Military Camp, and they have a bowling alley. So probably doesn't sound maybe that odd to most listeners, but a bowling alley on a volcano to me is pretty cool. So I had to check that out too.
No, I think anything on a volcano is pretty cool. I feel like there's a rush, knowing that this thing could spew any minute while you're
Mhm.
enjoying, bowling for strikes and spares. I think that's pretty awesome. We're gonna have to get that picture somehow up on our social sites. And you're still not off the hook for Summer's eggnog recipes. So make sure you're following our Jumpstart handles on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, so you can connect more with. Basically, we're just going to turn it into the Summer feed of all the cool things that Summer's doing. Um, but yeah, so my high low Buffalo. My high this week is we have several new team members that have come on board, recruiting and for HR consulting, as a business partner to our clients. And in a time where businesses are kind of falling back and trying to do more with less, we're just in a fortunate position to have clients that want to do more work with us, and we're sending out proposals almost daily now, for companies that want to work with us. And it's just great to extend offers to people. And we have some really great new hires. We're bringing on veterans. We're bringing on professionals, early stage professionals that have been around for a while, professionals across geographic regions. There's a lot of diversity to the team that is coming on board. So I keep saying we're going to have to bring some folks onto the show, but also as we develop our training portals as well, people will get to get some shine, and our team members will be leading trainings too. So, if you're interested in that type of work, or if your company needs training, we've got a phenomenal team of HR and recruiting pros to help you. The my low for this week, a pretty somber note. A family member's dog passed away. We found out very suddenly that they were ill, and I know nothing about this world of animals at like end of life or in pain or anything like that. So I can't pretend to be an expert there. But one day we heard that they were ill, and then the next day we heard that the dog was put to sleep. So um, not a fun time around the holidays, but we have the memories of almost 12, 13 years with this member of our family. Um, and believe it or not, many pictures around my house. It's not a fun time, but we have memories for sure. And my buffalo is excited to travel to my first business conference in a while since COVID. Nervous at the same time, but the organization is doing a lot for health and safety protocols, and so I feel comfortable going. But the nerves are there because I'll be speaking too, so it's exciting. But that's my high low buffalo. Not as cool as Summers, but hey, this is where you get to learn more about who we are and our life behind the scenes, and you might want to try it out with your team too.
Joey, I do have to add to this. I somewhat have to disagree that yours is not as cool as mine, because I must admit that it was a real struggle for me to try to pick just one high, because all of the new team members that you mentioned was definitely a high point of my week. And I too am so excited to have the opportunity to work with these awesome individuals, but also continue to grow the business. It's a very exciting time for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I think a cool thing for me is just to see the places where individuals are coming from. And obviously we won't disclose the companies that they work for, but we did mention a veteran coming on board, um, experts in retail, in family business, and so the diversity of our team and the diversity of thought and diversity of things that they've seen and experienced in their business lives, I think are really going to add to what we're building here at Jumpstart. So I am super excited, super excited.
I am too, Joey, but you know what the listeners and the viewers came for, right?
What's that?
They want to know our thoughts of news articles and also our consultant's corner. So if it's okay with you, I think it's time that we dive right in.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's go with while we were working. Go ahead, set it up.
Gotcha. So, if you haven't caught a prior episode, this is our weekly look at news or current events in the people leadership space. And this week, we are bringing you not one, but we are bringing you two articles from a topic that was briefly mentioned last week. And that was Are Cover Letters Dead? So there was actually two articles on this topic, Joey, recently. One is Are cover letters still a thing? This was an article from Human Resources Director America. And then a second article, which was 6 cover letter mistakes you might be making. And that was from Fast Company. And to, just kind of kick us off on this article, I wanted to, just kind of share some information, and really, really curious to get your thoughts on it too.
All right.
So maybe, Joey, I'm going to ask you the question first,
Okay.
since it's usually the other way around.
Yep. Let's do it.
What's your thought, Joey? Are cover letters dead or not?
I will put it this way. I do not believe that AI or HR technology will ever kill the cover letter. And I think that's where a lot of these conversations are headed about, like,
Mm-hmm.
well, the way that we hire and the way that we evaluate candidates, are cover letters still a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely a fan of cover letters. I read them all. Well, no, that's a lie. Personally, I evaluate skill sets first on a resume, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll look at the cover letter as a guide of, like, getting to know this person and,
Mm-hmm.
what they value outside of what they might have put on their resume. So I don't think that they are dead. I don't think that they will ever die. I totally understand that, we are recruiting at a higher scale than ever before,
Mm-hmm.
but the cover letters will always have a place, in the recruiting process. From my perspective, on one, it shows that you, as the job seeker, thought specifically about this role, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to, like, just applying to places all over and not customizing your approach.
Right.
But then on the employer side, you get to know the person. You get to
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe their writing style. You get to know, what areas about their job, application that they want to emphasize.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know how much they've read or studied up on your business and what
Mm-hmm.
that role is. So I say, it's always going to have a place. It may not be, like, as well received in HR tech because
Mm-hmm.
of parsing and all of that stuff,
Right.
but I fundamentally believe that every applicant should have a cover letter for a job that they want to work in. What about you, Summer?
Well, you make some really great points, Joey, and I promised that I'd share with our audience a fun fact that was from this article. And there was a career
Go for it.
builder survey, and that survey said that 40% of hiring managers indicated that they were more likely to review an application that included a cover letter.
See?
And I don't know about you, Joey, but if I was applying for a job and I was looking to, kind of have a leg up on some of the competition, those are pretty good stats, if you ask me. But I must admit that, probably like most, I have never enjoyed writing the cover letters because it feels like a homework assignment. But when I think about it from the hiring or the hiring manager standpoint, they are very valuable, Joey. I mean, let's face it, resumes are pretty boring, don't you think?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's probably a topic for a whole nother show, because I think you and I were actually talking about an article we read lately where there was discussion about, like, will resumes still even exist a few years from now?
Yeah.
And I don't know that they're going to go away. But in regards to the cover letter, I think they're extremely valuable. They can sometimes get lost in some of those hiring processes where you mentioned, with the applicant tracking system, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to add one, or they aren't generally shown. But in my opinion, I think the reason that they're so important is because this is your opportunity, Joey, to showcase your personality.
Mm-hmm.
You can address items that aren't on your resume. You can explain details that the reader may not otherwise capture from your resume. And let's not forget, like, you can really demonstrate your skills as a writer and a communicator. This is your time to shine.
Yep.
And it actually makes me think of a job that I had in the past. And one of the requirements was that you had to include a cover letter as well as your salary requirements. And if you didn't, this employer would not even consider you, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
And the instructions were very simple. please include a cover letter with your salary requirements and tell us about yourself, things that we would not know from reading your resume. So it was so broad and open and really, I think the last instruction was make it fun. And let me just tell you that some people really, really understood that this was a core part of that company's culture and made it really fun. So I have to also share with you, Joey, the one that stood out to me as being the most memorable.
Go for it.
In regards to salary requirements, Joey, one of the applicants said that their favorite bottle of wine was approximately $12 and that they were looking to earn between 2 to 3 bottles of wine per hour.
Tell me you hired them. I mean, just off
we
the strength of that.
we actually did. They were very qualified for the job, but I think they got, they understood what we were looking for, which was be creative, show us a little bit of your personality. Those aren't things
Yeah.
that are going to come through on your resume.
Yeah. Yeah, because we spend so much time forcing our resumes to kind of fit within the box, and the general advice for resumes is always the same. So the thing that makes your resume stand out are your demonstrated skills and abilities. But with the
Mhm.
cover letter, to your point, it's your personality.
Mhm.
And I think that we, our producer Devin, he said he laughed out loud. That was a good one. Uh, so you get to show your personality, and all of that matters. I was talking with a friend yesterday who was like, "Joey, help! I've got this like group interview thing on Zoom, and I don't know what I should do." And I said, usually, prior to these past 2 years or so, I would say, keep it right down the middle. Don't tell anything about yourself because
Mhm.
everybody's worried about discrimination or whatever the case may be. But I said, you know what? Share who you are.
Mhm.
Share, what you do outside of work that you enjoy. The family members in your life.
Mhm.
Share about that, because as much as we feel like skill is the primary reason people are hired, it's also like, do I like that person? Could I see this person fitting into our culture?
Mhm.
And you almost have to be vulnerable and share yourself up front, in order for someone that's making that decision to
Mhm.
evaluate and say, okay, yeah, I think this person could work here. So
Mhm.
I'm all for the cover letters. You know what? I'm gonna start advertising my rate in like greens fees or Chipotle burritos,
Oh my
because
gosh.
that was hilarious. That's gotta be like on a monument somewhere of like best salary range requirement response.
It's pretty memorable, Joey. I do think that that was definitely a great example of, if you're tasked with this type of ask, specifically in a cover letter, to build on what you were saying, just be yourself. And if it's not the right fit for that company, that's okay. But if you're yourself and you really shine and show your true personality, and that's attractive to a potential employer, then you know that should you get that opportunity, that you're going to fit in nicely with the culture that they're that they have, and the team that is there. And there's nothing better than being able to be your true authentic self at work and know
Yeah.
that it's valued, and you are surrounded with other individuals that that share that as well.
Yeah, and if you don't get the position today, there's nothing stopping them from saying, "Hey, we might have this other position in mind, and we'll
Mhm.
just fast track you because we just enjoyed you so much."
Mhm.
Um, what are some of the cover letter mistakes that people are making outside of not putting their salary range in increments of wine?
Oh man, I think that could be a whole other show in itself, Joey. But my number one item that gets me every time is something that's very generic. In my opinion, if a candidate hasn't taken the time to specifically research the company, the position, and convince me that they are interested in this job specifically with us, then it just kind of feels like they're fishing. They're just kind of casting out a wide net, trying to see who nibbles, who might call them back into me. Those aren't candidates that I'm personally interested in. I want somebody who has done their homework, has put in the effort, and it shows through.
Yeah.
And then two, I think using the space in their cover letter wisely. I don't want to have your resume repeated in your cover letter. I'd love to hear about, based on the research you did on the company, what type of solutions can you propose that that the company, your potential employer, might be facing? What skills do you bring, and how would you potentially solve those?
Yeah.
That's going to get my attention. Last but not least, I would say any sort of testimonials or letters of recommendations, those always stand out to me as well. And if you included those in your cover letter, you better believe that I'm going to have all of my attention and really consider that candidate further.
I would double down on what you said, and those are definitely some takeaways. For the employee that's listening, who
Mm-hmm.
wants to maybe take advantage of their next career move in 2022, but
Mm-hmm.
also for the hiring manager or the people leader who's evaluating applicants. Summer just dropped some gems on what to pay attention to know that the candidate is actually serious
Mm-hmm.
about your role. It is too easy to fluff and put down copy and paste text of ideal team player looking to have my next opportunity in the financial services space, or whatever the
Right.
case may be. But drill down and being specific is incredibly important. Um, and related to the career aspect, I feel like this is kind of like a career tooling episode here. I want to get into our consultants corner, and our
Mm-hmm.
consultants corner is where we discuss, you know, um, things that are going on that you are seeing in business,
Mm-hmm.
and questions that you have. So if you have a question for us about a tough people leading topic, give us an email at hello@jumpstart-hr.com, and we'll hide the names to protect the innocent, but we will give you honest, transparent advice. And this week we are going to be talking about a topic that maybe a lot of listeners are thinking about is, should I stay or should I go?
Mm-hmm.
And the controversial question is there a minimum amount of time you need to stay at a job? So basically, how long do I stay, and why? Summer, what do you think?
I would say my answer to this, Joey, is it really depends. And I say that because I'm a believer that, if you have a job that is making you so unhappy that it's impacting your health, then to me, why would you stay at that just for the sake of your resume? So I think, if you're at a job, maybe you've just started and it wasn't, what you were led to believe that it was, then I firmly believe that you should, firmly commit to looking for the right opportunity and making that move as soon as the right opportunity comes along. And I know this is kind of contradictory, Joey, to actually some of the articles that are out there. And this is just my opinion. I think there's a lot of talk about, well, the minimum amount of time you should stay is a year so that it doesn't look like, you didn't put the effort into learning a job, which they say, takes you about a year to become effective at. But I don't think it's worth our health, Joey. And, I, on top of that, it's a very different time now, in my opinion. Years ago, the expectation was you would take a job, you would stay at that job forever.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, I don't think that same expectation is there. I think that those expectations have changed. And while you do need to have like a steady pattern of employment, you don't want to be a job hopper. Uh, I think the times have changed, and team members are going to go and seek what makes them most happy in a job, even if it means that they're staying at one for a short period of time. But of course, curious to hear your thoughts on it, Joey, as well.
Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. And one of the things I think about is knowing yourself and being very self aware about what pathways are going to lead you to the career that you desire and which pathways are not, and being honest enough with yourself to say, hey, this isn't working. Do I need to pivot and go elsewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I need to figure out how I am contributing to my misery, and what things do I need to do to change? Maybe it's my attitude, maybe it's my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's I'm failing in a skill that I said I was good at, and they're just asking me to be accountable to that, and so do I need to step it up? But I am not going to tell somebody to stay in a job that is making them unhappy or is bad for their mental health
Mm-hmm.
if they've done the soul searching of, okay, this is making me unhappy, and my amount of personal responsibility is on the lower end, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just that place they're crazy. Like if you've done the work, I totally get it. Another thing too is the fact that these days are different than maybe even 3 years ago, 5 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, where ultimately people have to do what makes sense for their life. And that if it means you got a great job, but you're the only person that can care for an elderly parent, and so you
Mm-hmm.
had to do the thing that was right for your family and step in. I don't think you should be penalized for that. I don't think
Right.
that individuals who leave the workforce to tend to home or life matters should be penalized. So uh, you have to, if you're a hiring manager listening to this, or people leader, you know, go ahead and ask the questions up front about, hey, I saw that you were in this role for 3 months. I saw you were in this role for a year. Tell me a little bit about those transitions,
Mm-hmm.
and just listen to the thought process that went into those decisions. Sometimes people are there for a short time because they join an organization, and then there's a merger that they knew nothing about, and
Mm-hmm.
their position was redundant through no fault of their own, or whatever the case may be. So I don't think that you should stay at a job longer than you need to. And at the same time, I think that as hiring managers or people who employ people, we should feel comfortable asking those questions about why didn't you stay there long, with an open mind, and not necessarily to write someone off, but
Mm-hmm.
to see if their answer jives with even, you know, the culture of your organization. So that those are my thoughts, Summer.
Those are really great thoughts, Joey, and to tie both of our topics together, because I do think that they have similar themes. Earlier we discussed the value of writing a cover letter, and I can definitely see an opportunity here that if you do have gaps in your resume, or if you have any jobs that you've held that are shorter than a year, that is truly a really great opportunity to communicate that to the hiring manager so that you have the greatest opportunity to get past that initial screening process. Don't you think, Joey?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It allows you to hit the topic head on and gives context. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of context.
Totally agree, Joey. And man, these were some great topics. We had some amazing high-low buffalo today, and well, would you know it, we're already up on time. So you wanna close us out for this episode?
Yeah, yeah. So this has been another episode of While We Were Working. To catch up on episodes that you may have missed, go ahead and check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and you can also take a look at live broadcasts on LinkedIn every week at 2 p.m. on my page. So thanks for tuning in. And again, if you have a question for us in Consultants Corner, go ahead and email us at hello@jumpstart-hr.com. And go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That exposure helps us get the word out. about what we're doing. So until next episode, have a great week and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.